Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Herp Monday number 29 and we definitely have a good one for you today. This thing is a really interesting specimen. I think you're really going to enjoy this, and I know people love seeing this in the zoo. Today we are going to be talking about the Mata Mata turtle. Mata Mata, or scientific name Kelis fimbriatus or fimbriata. I can't really figure out which one it is, but I'm going to go with Kelis fimbriatus. It is part of the family Chelidae. Chelidae is known as the Austro-South American side-neck turtles. So basically it's going to be turtles that are found in Australia, New Zealand, those sort of Philippines, and the South American. Obviously, side neck turtles with necks so large that they cannot pull them into their own shell. Now, the Mata Mata is really specific in that it inhabits slow-moving blackwater streams, marshes, and swamps in the Amazon River basin. So this is a South American turtle. And it is found in these, just basically think of the nastiest water that has a whole bunch of leaves and branches broken down in it, black water. That's basically where you're going to find these. It is strictly aquatic, which I know is kind of disingenuous considering that I have shown you two pictures of them out of water. People may have moved them out of the water, or they could be female. But they do prefer standing in shallow water, where their snout, which you can see the tip right here, will extend past the surface, and that's actually how they breathe. And we'll get into it a little bit. This is a rather large turtle as well, as you can see in this picture, and it's pretty sedentary. These things don't really move. It does have a knobby carapace. Here you can see it in that shallow water with those nice red eyes. But it's really going to be in, shallow water. It's got this knobby carapace that when it has a whole bunch of moss on it, kind of looks like a piece of bark. These are a very flat turtle, I should say. As you can see in this picture, it has a very large and triangular head. That's actually very flattened as well, and there's just a ton of tubercles on the skin, so bumps, and just it's got a bunch of flaps of skin. I mean, this thing just looks pretty knobbly all over. And then, like I said, it has this tip on the end of its snout. It's basically a horn, and that horn lets it breathe while it stays underwater even shallower. Here's another picture. You can see the entrance to the snout right here. There's that horn. And then you also get a close-up on the flaps of the skin and how just knobbly this thing really looks like. Now, it does have 3 barbels on the chin, which, remember, barbels are fleshy whiskers. And then it has 4 barbels on the upper jaw. I'm not entirely sure where they are. I could not find them in the picture. So let me know in the comments if you know where they are. These are primarily a brown or a black, as you saw on these. I have no idea why this one is so shiny, but they're predominantly going to be pretty brown or pretty black. Now, we talked about the size. These Mata Matas can measure, their shell can measure up to 95 centimeters. So that's about 37 inches, about 3 feet. That's just the shell. That's not including the neck. I'm not entirely sure what the neck can out to. I'm going to assume that the neck can stretch out to maybe 70% of the shell, so you can basically think of it being about a 5.5 foot long turtle overall. And these do weigh quite a bit. If you can see, they have a really thick neck and a relatively thick body. These can weigh up to 21 kilograms, which that's about 46 pounds all in all. And just so you can know, if you do find these, males have a longer and thicker tail than females. That is because of their organs inside of them. Now, these do stay extremely still. Remember, I said that these were a very sedentary turtle. They stay very, very still. They have skin flaps. Those skin flaps actually help them blend into the surrounding vegetation. That's also why they're so knobbly. looking like a piece of bark. The skin flaps are basically looking like vegetation. And what happens is when something crosses in front of their mouth, they exhibit what is called suction feeding. So they thrust out their head really fast and then open their mouth and draw in the small prey item really quickly, like a vacuum, and then they slowly release the water around the edges of their mouth, keeping it whatever they're eating inside of their mouth. And they can only swallow things whole, so they have to have something smaller than their mouth, something that they can physically swallow. Because, fun fact, the mata mata actually cannot chew in any way. Their jaws cannot move in any sort of chew. And these primarily are eating small fish and invertebrates. There's been records of them eating other things, but they seem to eat fish and invertebrates. Now, as far as reproduction goes, reproduction of these is it's not very well known. This is a very secretive turtle, even though it's been around for quite a long time. People have known about mata matas for. Scientists believe that their mating ritual, the male will confront a female and basically thrust out his head and then open up his mouth and bring it back and then thrust it out his head, basically just bobbing his head like a chicken. Female likes it. She will go up, lay the eggs onto the shallow. So this is one of the few times that the mata matas will actually leave the water, just the female. The mata mata will lay the eggs, and I believe they said about 35 or so. And then after 200 days, which is actually a pretty long incubation time, you will have baby mata mata. Are actually very colorful, have a very pinkish tint to them. They seem to be much more colorful, different colors, probably making them blend into the existing vegetation. Now, mata matas are very expensive. They are available for the exotic pet trade, but they are very expensive. I would definitely not encourage you to get one of these unless you have had experience with turtles. I'm not saying they're insanely difficult to take care of, but they do require a lot of water chemistry knowledge. These things really need high tannin waters, kind of slower moving waters, which is, it's kind of difficult for a novice aquarium person to set up. And like I said, they're very expensive, so you wouldn't want to get one of these and potentially lose it. A small one, I found a small one, which I believe was about 4 to 5 inches. So, you know, half a foot, that big. Those go for about $300. And I did find another one that was selling them just over a foot long, and those were selling for $650. So these are definitely a big expense. Now, the fun fact that we're going to end the video on, mata matas, as I said, have been known to the scientific world for quite a while. However, mata mata used to be only one species, and the only species in its genus. Now, it was recently split into 2 separate species. It was actually split in 2020, which that tells you that we are constantly learning about species, new things, and discovering new things in the world, even to this day. This is a turtle that we have known for so long, and yet it wasn't until last year that we actually discovered that what we thought was 2 species or 1 species is actually 2. The mata mata that we actually know is in the Amazon River Basin, whereas the new species is in the Orinoco River Basin. So they are 2 separate species. That does cause a little bit of concern. Previously, the mata mata was thought to be doing pretty well, not endangered in any way because it was so widespread. However, the splitting up into 2 separate species can actually, it causes their range to be quite more confined, which could make them actually be thought of as almost threatened or endangered. Probably their biggest threat immediately is collection for the exotic pet trade. Secondary is probably going to be habitat loss. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Leave a comment down below. I really enjoy reading. I read every single comment. It's been a blast. And I hope you've been enjoying these series. But once again, thank you so much again. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and